And hello, everybody. Happy Monday. I can't believe we've made it till May. My goodness, it's something to talk about. Woo. All right, we're nearly there. And it's great to see you and to hear you. Okay, I'm not sure. Neil, I hope you can hear me now. I'm great. Excellent. Thank you. So today, again, it's like Monday, May 3rd. So we've made it into the fifth month of the year. And that's great. And I have a mixed bag today to talk to you about because if you've been following me, you know that when we get around the first of the month, that's always a busy time for me. And you'll also know that if you've been following me, I've been exploring some side hustles and I've been working with some bridal showcases. So, the first thing that I wanted to report on is my side hustle. So, you might remember that we talked about having a side hustle for my business and that mine was going to be this Material Girl program that I am doing in the Galloway Township Farmers Market. And we did a test on Earth Day. Now, where we live, it was hugely windy on Earth Day. And so that made for quite an event when we had all sorts of recyclables that were very, very lightweight. So suffice it to say, we took a number of times where we had to take a lot of time out of what we were doing in order to just regather everything that we had. But overall, it was a very successful event in terms of a couple of things. So, first of all, for me, I got to really see a good cross section of the audience that I'm going to have. And so, this particular location is a place where people live year round. But it's also, the farmers market is located in a historic tourist site. So the Smithville Inn in Galloway Township, New Jersey. So on Earth Day, which was a Thursday evening, there was not a lot of tourist activity at Smithville, and it's a village, okay, and also has an inn. And it's been there for many, many years. My whole lifetime, we've been able to go to Smithville. And it does attract quite a few people actually throughout the year. So the flea market, though, on Earth Day in particular, did not happen to have a lot of people that were just at Smithville for the day. The farmers market did draw a very nice group of people who have been supporting them over a number of years. And also, we got some newbies. And so what was really terrific is that I had made a product that was made out of used takeaway containers, the plastic kind. You guys probably saw some of the ones that I had. I showed you a number of them. And if you want to look on my Instagram, that's RoxAnneLava.shoes. You can go check out the bird feeder waterer that I made that was actually the product that I featured at this particular event. The other thing that we did, though, was that we had a giveaway. My partner from Galloway has these stainless steel tiffins. I'm not sure if you know what they are, but they're an Indian way to have food. And so they're separated food containers that all stack and hold together. And these that we have are stainless steel. And they were purchased to be a giveaway at a variety of other events last year that did not happen because of the pandemic. So we are lucky enough to be able to use them at this particular event. So we brought out a bunch, and those became excellent conversation starters. I will also say, because they came in boxes and they were somewhat heavy, they were useful in holding things down during the wind. We were able to talk with people and really talk up the program and what we were doing. And with each of these weekly programs that I'm going to be doing, and actually they're going to be bi-weekly throughout the farmers market starting in June, one of the things that we do is we videotape me making them or giving directions to make them. We videotape. I'm showing my age now. We video them. So they go up on the website as a video so you at home can watch and follow along and do what we need to do in order to make the project. So what we learned was that the first time that we're going to sit down and do the taping, it's quite likely that one of the Navy jets that finds its home in Pomona, New Jersey, right near where we are having our event, will fly over. But no sooner did I get started than the jets came over. And it was quite funny because, I have a pretty good voice. I project fairly well, but even the jets were far too much for me. So we had to do take 2. So that was fine. We also found out, and I hadn't really thought about this, that I need to have sections that are already pre-made. So let's say that there are 4 steps to making a project. I need to have step 1 in process, step 2 in process, step 3 in process, and then the final one, which is all put together. So that way I can actually work more quickly to put the overall project together so that we can keep that video down to about, a max of 10 minutes. The other thing that was really great for me here was that I was able to see the lay of the land and understand how traffic patterns were going to come in to the particular area where we have the farmers market. So I was able to identify a permanent space in the market where I think that I will capture people coming in directly from a parking lot and people coming in directly from the other activities at Smithville. So that will be a high traffic area. It will be a good place for me to be, and it will be a good place for people to see me. So that was another important and excellent element in terms of the project that I'm about to embark on. And then I've also been able to envision how I'm going to build out my space. So one of the key things that I think will always attract people, aside from the giveaway, which is a great one, and we can do that the whole time that I'm there, is if I'm working on something in my booth. This is what's great about being a maker. If you're making something, people are going to come by and they're going to want to know what you're doing. So if you are actually busy doing something, it's terrific because it allows a conversation to start. And whether it is started by somebody passing by or whether it's started by me saying, hey, I'm doing this. Would you like to come over and see how I do it? Have you ever thought about how such and such is made? Have you ever used this tool? Come see, watch how I'm using it. So at that particular element's going to be great. The other thing we have talked about doing is sort of also walking the crowd and telling people when the demonstration will be, stop by and get this, check this out, yada, yada, yada. So that will also be another way that we can promote the event. And then the other beautiful part is that because we're doing this as a sustainability project, and as many of you know, that is, and as I have said before, a core value of much of what I do. And almost every shoe I make, whether it is a, throwaway house slipper that we've been talking about, or whether it is a high-end shoe, it is generally almost always made from some upcycled materials. There are a few pairs of shoes which are fashion shoes, which are made from new leathers. But for the most part, as we've always said, and as I've always said, I am trying to select materials that are either being reused, upcycled, or are imperfect, so that all of the things that nobody else wants are things that I'm going to use. So because I have that as a fundamental core value, I am also going to be able to feature my shoes that I make. So the idea is that I will have products that we're making as demos, But at my booth, I will also have small upcycled products that people could do at home or purchase very easily and inexpensively from me. But I'll also be able to display my higher end sandals, shoes, etc., and feature them so that people can also order those from me throughout the summer. So this, I think, will be very lucrative for me, not necessarily dollars wise. But one of the things that's been very key and crucial for me is to make sure that I am always getting out in the public with my shoes for people to see, touch, feel, and respond to, because that feedback from people that don't know me, have never seen me, have no stake in whether what they say is good or bad, are a treasure trove of information. And finally, what this has really done, which is really terrific, is it has kind of brought me, I have been, as I've said to you all, I've been kind of moving in a situation where my making business is informing my consultancy is informing my making business. It may just all meld together in a particular way. But the other thing that really came to me is what I think the mix for success for my shoe business will actually be. So just want to recap a couple things we said about my side hustle when I was talking about it before I did it. And that is that, looking at my experience, I have been an adult educator since I was 17 years old. And that's a considerably long time. I have been a professional educator, an academic, for 25 plus years. I've been in retail for 30 plus years. And so I have a great knowledge base in making and selling. The other thing that I'm really good at is teaching, because I've been teaching for a long time. So I understand how to break projects down, how to take students through, how to communicate in a variety of ways. I also, because I stand up in front of students all the time and I stand up in front of peers all the time, and I've had my conference tours, stand up in front of people all the time. And I've done my share of speaking as a consultant, etc. I'm also very good at giving lectures and workshops. So I think really what can happen now, and if you followed some of the things that I've said in some of my career, I started by doing the making online. Year 2, I introduced a number of new designs. And in fact, too many too soon, right? I wanted to get out amongst people so that I could get feedback on my designs and construction of my shoes. That was the summer that it rained every weekend, so I got very little public feedback. As I was approaching year 3, I decided to add in the mix shoemaking workshops. And I decided that I would go down that road, and I was preparing for it in early 2020 with face-to-face workshops. I was just getting ready to book my spring summer season. And all of a sudden, the pandemic hit and face-to-face was out. So I need to leverage my skills as an educator and a speaker. But I don't want to do that by teaching people to make shoes. It's difficult to make shoes. It's hard when you make your first pair to come out with it feeling like you have a really great pair of shoes for most people today. It requires some tools, it requires lasts, and it requires some materials that are not so healthy. So for all of those reasons, I don't really want to take that on. But what I am always happy to do is to do some kind of smaller project that will have less expectation, also be at a lower price point, so lower barrier to entry. And I'm also always interested in showing people how to do things and demonstrating how to do things. So I was talking with my mentor, and we've talked about the fact that I have a mentor, and I was telling her about, this is really what I'm going to focus on this summer. So for the next 2 months, the first real event is on June 24th. So what I will be doing in May and early part of June is a lot of things that are going to prepare me for this particular 6-week series. It's six visits over 12 weeks. And so just some of the things that I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to produce product. I'm going to need to create my booth space. I'm going to need to create my display space. And all of those things are going to come together, and there'll be great things to work on for the next 2 months. Fantastic. Very happy about that. But what my mentor was really helpful in showing me, because she wanted to jump ahead as if I had been successful in all of this, was that why couldn't I offer this to other townships who are interested in having these kinds of events, sponsoring these kinds of events that are all about sustainability? And she's not wrong. There's also, and I have been thinking about this too, a series of step up living communities that are always looking for people to come in, do a project, do, lecture, talk about something. So there is marketing, and to really understand sort of like, I can have like a Chinese menu of things. Want me to come in and lecture for an hour about how you can upcycle materials that have every day? Boom. Want to have a workshop on how your lunch boxes into a bird feeder? Pretty easy. Can do it in 1 hour, whatever. Could sell this. Could do a number of things. There's a number of revenues at a number of levels that would be affordable to an organization or a group. And I think that is key. As we know, my lowest price point for shoes, in order to be sustainable, dollars, and that's not making me rich. So I have to find ways that I can be paid for things at a lower rate that are but the rate is commensurate and sustainable for me as I move forward. So stay tuned on that one, because we're going to be working on that, and I'm making my first step in that direction today. Also, I would say over the Monday missions, you might start to see me working on my booth design or my displays in my booth. I have some real interesting ideas about what I'm going to do with that. I will be investing in a banner for that. Now, keep in mind, I am being paid by the Galloway Township to do this program at this event. So this is the kind of thing that, I have to be looking at. So I'm going to be looking at it instead of classes. I'm going to be looking at it as delivering a program to a variety of people, and the people I'll be marketing to will be quite different than just the individual who's purchasing a shoe. So that's all really important information. It's cooking. There'll be a lot of great shower thoughts, I hope, and good conversations, and a way to move forward. And I'm actually very excited about it, because it's also, it gives me not only an opportunity to use my talents in making and challenges to problem solve, but it also, and I like to be with people. So it's really actually a very nice combination for me. And the thing I did just want to add is that also what I'm going to do, and what I have challenged people to do at the initial event, is to bring me things they like to see me turn into something else. So this is, I think, going to be quite fun. And there is also a plan for me to maybe work with the high schools as well, and some pretty cool things that I think that we can do that will really fit into my mission, my sustainability, and who I am. And so it's allowing me to take and really focus on the sustainability value in my business and sell that as opposed to selling the shoes. So it'll be interesting to see how that proceeds. Okay. So when you last saw me, I was getting ready also for a bridal showcase. So I just wanted to kind of take you through bridal showcase. So this was the full year now of doing bridal showcases virtually. And people are now able to go. So that is for great for the but it also taking that I was doing with that, because I remember before is that I do bridal show follow up. So I'm going to share. The first show you is after a show, we get a list of emails of everybody who attended, well, not even attended, but signed up for that show. And so that's really important and quite good. And what I do is I send a follow-up email the next day. Yeah, and it's not the next day. This was last Thursday. Well, for some reason, I didn't get the list until over the weekend. And so today is my first working day for me to actually do this. So I always start, it's kind of a form letter. It has changed over time. I change it periodically. This is a new one that I'm doing that does the Show Us Your Shoes Petty Party. And also I started to talk a little bit more about other things than what I have sent before. In a previous version of this, I sent out shoe tips for your wedding. But that I sent that out for about, I don't know, a year, maybe 9 months. So in March or February, I started with a different message. Remember that some of these brides come multiple times, so it's probably smarter for me actually to maybe have 3 different messages and to rotate them. And so I will have to think about that, and I will have to think about doing that. But anyway, in a world where everybody looks down, it's all about your shoes. And so I tell you a little bit about how you might approach your shoes for your wedding. You will see that we had 130 people on our list. So I am sending to 130 people. And I thought what I would do is just let you watch me click send. Although I need to start with a classic silhouette. That's why it's not working. There we go. All righty. So I am going to hit send. So that's done. And what will happen is all the emails that are wrong will come back to me, and I will correct them. And then I will add those emails to my newsletter list. And remember, I use tiny letter for my newsletter. Maybe we'll do that anyway, but there's something else that I wanted to kind of talk there. I also give away I give a bridal giveaway, and for this time round, it is for my virtual petty party. So I am connecting with this woman, and I am going to send her some information. She has already been in touch with me, and we will go further, but this is giving her some further information about what she has won. Now, what I do with that petty party is I send out that information. I request a phone call so that we can talk and discuss exactly all the things that happen in that party. And we can talk about now whether it's going to be virtual or socially distanced, safely face-to-face. this particular woman happens to, I think, live in my immediate travel area. So it's possible we could do this face to face. So this one should be fun. The next thing that I wanted to talk about, now this is more of a first of the month thing, is that we have our analytics. Now this was my March snapshot. I don't know if I've had my email for my April snapshot yet, but I thought that what I'd do is show you my Google Analytics. And I thought we could talk a little bit about these. Now, I want you to think about this in terms of a number of things. Data is data, and it is only as good as your interpretation of it or your question that you want answered. And particularly what is most important is in terms of your strategy. So anytime you are doing any kind of promotion, you want to kind of have a strategy and attach a metric to it. So you can see a couple of metrics up here, like users, sessions, bounce rate, and session duration. Because the bridal show was on the 20th, that I have not hit my highest point of users during the bridal show. And you'll see that it went down really pretty quickly from the bridal show. Now, what is more interesting that, because I would expect during the bridal show, and you're on YouTube, if you're interested, you might be checking me out right then. But what is kind of interesting is that I had the same users don't done anything to even promote the show. We're up. The sessions were up over the last week, and the duration was. Okay, so let's talk about session. Session is any people arrive and leave right away. So this is a high bounce rate, but it went down %. So that's really, looking at it going down means this was a pretty good, because my users were up 85%, the sales were up 92%, the bounce rate, it was down 10%, and people were, my look, which is 100% more were before. So those, what I take away from this was a week that was positive. I didn't have any particular strategies. I didn't have anything particular that I wanted. Okay, but that was I looked at in terms of this week versus last week, and I can some other information, and you'll see Google gives you last 7 days. I can do days, 90 days. So you can spend your time looking, and particularly if you have a strategy where you have, this is a great way to go. Thing that's really interesting, this is consistent over history, though I wear it as a point of pride. So you see that there are different colors down here for how people find you. So directly, which means they go directly to your website. Organic, get you through a search engine. Referral means that you come from another site. And so what is pretty interesting here is that on the 26th, I had 8 direct. So that means somehow directly 8 people came to see me on Monday, the 26th, directly to my site. And what you can see is almost all the time, the big one for me is direct. And I find that interesting. Now I have why that is, because it means that for some reason, getting direct hits is good. So the organic search you'll see is probably, I guess, the second. And referral is third. Now, the thing to think about in terms of referral is I don't really do a lot of ads with anybody, but as I have told you, in terms of bridal purposes, I do have an online presence through New Jersey Weddings. And I did have one through New Jersey Bride. The information that is really important. I'd also say, let's just look at this because this is in March. Look at, I had more returning users in March than I did in February. Again, it's a low percentage, but this is going in the right direction. So I don't worry so much about the numbers because that's just not how I deal with my, but you could worry about the numbers and then you would set up these strategies and tactics to increase your numbers. So when I come through here, I can see what these things now mean. So I have Google, I have people coming from Baidu, and I have, look, NewJerseyWedding.com referrals. So that makes complete sense. So direct means they come direct to me. I've got that Google organic search. I've got that Baidu organic search. And then I have the New Jersey referrals. So again, I can go over and I can see where I have. So interesting, on the 30th, Baidu has 2. Now, I don't know much about Baidu, so I'm going to look into what that is. And we're talking here. I'm making a note. That's a new place for me. So I'm going to check that out. Okay. So now you can also see over the last 30 days, I had 183 active users. And this does not actually include, see, it's April 3rd to May 2nd. That does not include the last bridal show. The last bridal show was probably about 7 days before that, in March. People from there in that 183. In the last 7 days, it's been 76. And in a 1 day, the highest was, which is probably pretty good. So now, you can start to see over here the users, right? So we have users with 100% retention the second week. So I get them, they all have 1%. This is what happens in terms of the second week. And then they drop off. So now what I can also do is see the day when I have a lot of users. Okay. And this is interesting because 7 a.m. Thursday, I had 14 users, well before, that's like 12 hours before the bridal show. So again, I don't know exactly what it means. About my viewers. So 43% were from Indonesia. Interesting. That would say perhaps that is part of my brutal attack issues, because you might know that I said that I had some brutal attack going on, another hacker trying to get in. Maybe that is what that is. But you see that I have mostly from the United States. I have a few in Hong Kong, in China, and in Australia. Thing to know. The other thing here is how many people are using mobile and how many people are using desktop. So again, mobile is the big winner, and desktop even is up. So that is also interesting. Other thing that you can look at here is what people are looking at. All right. So what are the pages that they are most interested in? So it's a mixed bag, but you can kind of see all of what people are interested in and where they're coming from. So that's your Google Analytics, and that is something you should be looking at all times, and it will help that that there are these other elements here. I'm sorry, Neil, you were saying you could not see my analytics. I have to take a drink. And I'll look at the Ben Udea TEDx talk. That's a great one. So anyway, those were the metrics. I'm not sure why you couldn't see it because I was sharing my screen. So that's a little odd. Anyway, the next thing that I did want to talk about is, so, again, first of the month, it means that I need to do a newsletter. And I think probably what my newsletter will be around this month is going to be sustainability. I haven't written it yet. As you know, my goal is usually to get it out the first week of the month. And so that's what I'm going to work on doing later on today. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is who inspires me. And so one of the things that really inspires me is the J. Peterman catalog. And I love this catalog because it's very old worldly and it has a very romantic vision, item-driven catalog, that they sell really items as opposed to collections. So I'm just going to show this, and I hope that you can see it. And I brought it up to show you today, mostly because what is interesting about it to me is that it reminded me how it started. And how it started really was the owners bought a $500 Horseman's Duster, which is a long coat. And what they did was they decided to go direct mail. And the way that they advertised was a 1/6 page ad in the New Yorker. And now they've created something that is really very special. And so if you can see what I'm showing you, and if you can't, you can go to jpeterman.com. That's JPETERMAN.com. And they have men's and women's clothing and accessories. They use drawings. So that is one thing that really works well with their aesthetic. But the thing that's really interesting about what they do is that each particular item has a story. And so they really use storytelling in a way that helps the customer really be put into a situation in that article of clothing that they can kind of romanticize and buy into. And it is a fascinating and good way to kind of give that sort of boost to your customer that you don't get by selling online. So one of the things that I do totally want to do, and I've been talking about this, and I think I talked to you all about this a couple episodes ago, is that what I want to do is I want to kind of rewrite all my stories about each of my types of shoes in this particular kind of style that will be very evocative of the inspiration for that shoe. And so that is also on my list of things to do today, as I get ready to update my website. So those are some things that I'm doing there. Now, the other thing that you might like to know is that what I have also done is I have um, gone to and requested from the New York Times what it would, I'm sorry, the New Yorker, what it would cost for a 1/6 page ad in their Fashion and Style September issue. So we're back to something else that I was talking about a couple weeks ago. And that is, I've told you all very openly about how my bridal showcase, the biggest thing I've gained from it is exposure. And the most promising thing I've gained from it is the increase in my newsletter list, my email list. And that has been pretty good because, those are marketing dollars. But one of the things I've been thinking about is, would it be better to market through an ad? And one of the other things I've been thinking about in terms of my bridal showcase is, at this time, I broadened what I wanted to have happen with, oh, I know why. There you go, Neil. I bet you can see me now. I can see everything I'm sharing now. That was my mistake. Sorry about that. So what we can talk about in terms of this that I think is really important, though, is that I think that broadening my appeal and reaching a different audience, not solely bridal or special occasion, will be a better value. And so what I have been thinking about doing is advertising in a print publication that's different, and not just specifically bridal. So I am toying with that as well. So let me show you, which you saw me preparing my video. And if you saw me a few weeks ago, you saw that what was missing was me. And so my video was kind of a big fail. I'm going to take a minute and I'm going to show you my latest video, which is also in my eyes a fail because this one is too long. But I'm going to share it with you. So take a second. I may not show you the whole thing. I think I may show you just about half of it, but because I want to recap what I've talked about today. But let's just take a look here.
A wedding is so much more than a day. It's the culmination of all the memories that have brought you here and a celebration of all the moments yet to come. So shopping with mom, choose the RoxAnne Lava signature style. This slim profile, super pointed toe, molds to your foot, and you'll be stylish, sophisticated, and comfortable as you and your mom stroll the shops. Brunch with your friends? You can never go wrong with the RoxAnne Lava Classic. This almond toast shape is a classic style for a mule, and it will last forever no matter what the fashion trend. In this particular combination of silver sparkly ribbon with black patent, you and your friends can channel Audrey Hepburn and enjoy your breakfast at Tiffany. dancing with your dad, select the RoxAnne Lava heel. This heel is made around one of the most comfortable lasts of all time. The last's name is Rita, and that makes me think of Rita Moreno, and that makes me think of dancing. And here we have the classic dance heel. It's a Louis heel with beautiful curves down the back and underneath, and it has a very stable heel bottom. It's about 2.5 inches. You dance all night without your feet getting tired or hurting. It's also available in a wedge, and on either style, you can have a strap in the front, on the ankle, or a strap over the back if that would make more comfortable. So, dance the night away. Need a gift for your bridal party? Well, boy, do I.
Okay, so we are about halfway through on that. I think you can see that it did kind of get me in there. And so that was an incredible miss on the last one, but it's a win on this one. Although I might insert some of my previous recordings about the shoes and intersperse them so there's a little bit different sort of style. I also am going to remove some of the photos there. I went from too little to too much. Now we're going to we'll find the happy medium, and hopefully this one will 10 minutes left. And I realized that I was not able to show you everything, that I'm going to just go back and recap what we've talked about and what I did today. That was my mistake, and I'm sorry about that. This week, or in fact, that my side hustle is really helping to move me forward, and that it's going to start to bring together a different way for me to think about my revenue streams, my product lines, and my audience. And so rather than just being a maker selling retail to an individual, I am now going to become a person who is offering a program about sustainability that utilizes making to people who want to educate other people. And so it's going to start to bring all of that together for me, which is going to be, I think, useful. I think it's going to be, hopefully, the pivot that is the charm, because it's the third one. They always say third's the charm, right? So that is one important thing. I showed you and talked to you about the fact that it was follow-up with the brides. So I had an email I was sending out that I just send blanket BCC'd to anybody who had signed up and was on my list. The last bridal showcase. That's the one that helps me clean my inbox. And I said, different shows. So that's another section to look at. I'm going to take us over and go back to my Google Analytics, which you guys couldn't see, and I hope that you're seeing them now. So I'm just going to review them quickly for you. So you can do all kinds of things with your Google Analytics. This is just a report that they constantly give me every month. So I just, you can search your data, you can really mess with your data. And as I said before, I don't really use a particular strategy that is based on a tactic of getting more people to my website. Most of the time, I'm just doing a strategy that gets me brand recognition and hopefully brand building. So what I do is, this is just for the last 7 days. And if you're down here, you can look at it in a number of different ways. I could look at the last 28. I could look at the last 90. I could do various ranges. I could do a custom search. I sometimes do that. But for me, this is more about, was this week a positive week or was it a week in terms of the metrics? It's not so much about how many, it's more about how much. So here we're looking at the number of users. We're looking at the number of sessions. That means the number of times those users and a person interacted on your site within a period of time. The bounce rate is how many people jump in and immediately leave. And the session duration is how long they stay anywhere. So as I was saying to you, all of my metrics underneath there are green, which means go, which means they were all improvements over the last week. So my users were up, the sessions were up, the bounce rate was down, and the site duration was up. So this is, this is a high bounce rate, no joke, but it's 10% less than it was last week. So that was good, right? It made good movement. The second thing that I, again, have told you, here's just what I did want to point out that's kind of interesting is, so the 28th, I had a big jump, but the bridal show was on the 29th. So it's interesting to see sort of this jump early. I'm not sure. It's comparing it to before. Okay. So this is from the last week. And you see that this is down from the 22nd of April. Now, the 22nd was Earth Day. So it's possible that, I got some people going to my website from the Earth Day event and from the Earth Day promotion. So that could account for these two things. But this pre-bridal show is quite interesting to me. Down here, you can look at your traffic channel, your source, and your referrals. And so what is interesting, and what I was saying was interesting to me and has always consistently been interesting to me, is that most of what I get comes to me directly. So it's got to mean that my name's getting out there somehow because people are finding me directly, not through search. Organic search is the second one for me. So that also means that my search SEO is set up fairly well. And the final one is referral. And this is the least successful for me. And I believe that I'm getting these referrals mostly from New Jersey weddings. And in fact, we found out that that was true. And here's how I can look at that. So the source and the medium. And down here, you can see direct, which means people go directly to my site. Then there's Google. Then there's Baidu. Then there's NewJerseyWedding.com. So that's a site where I hold my bridal presence on the web. And then we have here, I think this is also good. Again, it's not a high percentage, but more people were returning visitors in March than they were in February. And look, 193 users in February. Of that, 4 came back in March. Now, it's not great, but listen, it's better than the ones that came in February. So again, it is a positive result. Over the last 30 days, I've had 183 users. Over the last 7 days, I've had 76. Again, this number was capturing some of the overflow or repeat business from the March wedding showcase, possibly. But I'd have to go back and look, but it's a good metric to look for. Okay. Again, when somebody has come, their retention for the week is considered 100%. Now you've got to see, do they come back? And as we can see, quite a few less come back. So this is where the retention happens, but the retention hasn't gone past the second visit. Here's my users by time of day. And again, I was saying this is very interesting. Thursday at 7 a.m., I had 14 users, which is kind of odd because that was before the bridal showcase. And then here we see that I had a lot of visitors from 43% from Indonesia. Now, again, this is possible that this could have been people interested in my shoes, but I did also receive notification that somebody was trying to get into my account again, like I did when I had that brutal force attack. And so it is possible that that's who these people were. I would have to go back and check the dates, and that's what I would do. Again, we can see that these are mobile sessions and these are desktop sessions. And I think this is pretty much what you would think. 62% would be mobile and about 38% would be desktop. So that sounds reasonable to me. And down here, you can see which pages they came to and what they did. So a lot of people just went to the shop page. Number of people were looking at a blog post. A number of people were looking at my bridal page, bridal stuff. Okay, this is an old blog post that people were looking at rather. A lot of people were looking at the mule making kit, or at least there were 3 visits to it. And the limited edition styles and some news. So it's very sort of mixed, but the bulk are going to my home page. So that's sort of where we are with web analytics, sending things out. My article, as I said, this week or this month will be about sustainability, and I will talk about that and that idea. And then you also inspiration from Jay Peterman, starting to think about where an ad placement would be really good. So just to give you a little bit of a comparison, participating in the bridal $250. And I get that all important email and also my opportunity to talk to people. I also get the video that comes as part of that 250. So all of that is good. But I'm now thinking about should I take that $250 or now I'm sure it's going to cost more than $250 in the New Yorker, don't get me wrong, but if you look at that, that's $220, $2,200. That might be enough to buy an ad somewhere. There are also many other magazines I could choose. I'm just interested in the New Yorker because Jay Peterman gave me the idea to be interested in the New Yorker. So that is important kind of as a marketing tool to think about. It will also be interesting to see as I go through this new sort of format with the farmers market, what happens with that as well. So that's what we did today. I hope you enjoyed it. I see it's 1 o'clock and I won't keep you any longer. Thanks for joining. I hope you got something out of it. And again, I do apologize for my screen share. And, sometimes it's just a text glitch, but I'm going to tell you that was just an Ann Cecil oversight brain glitch because most of the time it's not the technology, it's the user. So have a great week, and I'll be back to you next week to report on, I don't know what, but we will see you then. Have a good week, everybody. Thanks for watching.